You are watching the Midtable Up Podcast highlights. Please put your foot through the like button and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to follow us on our social media and on Spotify and the podcasts app.
My number two, I'll jump in, was the Leicester title win.
That was my number two also.
15-16.
Yeah.
And let me just come in with a bit of a disclaimer on why it was number two and not number one, because obviously Leicester winning the league is obviously far more unlikely than, kind of any last minute goal to seal the league for City but obviously by the end of the season you knew that Leicester were going to win the league. They just had to get over the line, and obviously the Chelsea drawing against Spurs was what sealed that in the end. So it's probably the most incredible thing to happen in the Premier League, but it's almost not a moment. I mean, obviously them lifting the title is a moment in itself, but that for me was probably the only reason why it didn't make number one for me. So yeah, let's talk about Leicester winning the title that year, because it was just incredible. At what point did you guys kind of go, this could happen? They could win the league. Oh, was it really March?
March, yeah.
Yeah, no, before that I'm just thinking they're going to fall away eventually. There's no way they're going to keep this up. What I love about this, though, is it all started because the manager's son had sex with a Thai prostitute in the season before.
Yeah,
this is how this story begins. Nigel Pearson's son has sex with a Thai prostitute.
Yeah,
that loses Nigel Pearson his job, because he would have stayed in that job. He kept them up the year before.
Definitely,
they'd gone on a ridiculous run to stay up the year before as well.
They had.
Let's not remember that they were in title-winning form at the end of the season before, and they just seemed to carry that forward. Then Ranieri comes in, dilly ding, dilly dong, pizzas for clean sheets. Everyone's enjoying themselves. What a season!
Do you think they would have won that title if Nigel Pearson was still the manager that season? No.
God, no. I mean,
do you reckon they would have got N'Golo Kante if Nigel Pearson was the manager that season?
No.
Do you know? I think the reason why, for me, Leicester's number one, and it is so close. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm almost splitting hairs here.
Yeah.
For me, and I appreciate it was because it happened when I was there.
Yeah, so and I appreciate that. If I was there, I think you would have it higher, because it's that feeling of belonging and being around it.
You were at uni,
winning the league.
Yeah, you were at uni in Leicester. I can imagine the whole city was just bouncing.
Yeah. Well, you felt the tension as it got close.
Yeah.
Because it was getting quite close to, it was getting quite close to the winning, and you could feel the sort of tension, and it was always one of those things you couldn't really. No one spoke to each other. No one came up to me and said, "Oh, I'm fucking nervous for tonight." But you could kind of cut it with a knife, and
I bet.
And then when it happened, the city was crazy. It was not. I was out for it's one of those moments where you kind of almost remember where you were.
Yeah, definitely.
I was out for dinner. And it happened. And the way I knew it was happened is because obviously I was a good guy, wasn't on my phone in the middle of a dinner. The staff started cheering. And it was like a Tuesday night or something, great. And we were the only people in the restaurant
because everyone else was watching the Chelsea game.
On? Yeah, they would have been.
And it was just scenes. It was crazy. There was people on buses. There was. It was crazy. No,
I mean, because obviously you talk about the tension, obviously in the kind of build up to it. Because again, until there was that moment where it was mathematical, there would have still been people going, they are going to fall away. I feel like, I was probably around the same as you guys. Probably around March was probably when I went, yeah, this could seriously happen now. They're not just going to fall away and maybe get top four. They could potentially win this title. But for me, the thing that really kind of sticks out was when you were seeing people that had obviously, for a laugh at the beginning of the season or even before the season had kicked off, had put a tenner on Leicester to win the league, and then it gets to April, and then these people are cashing out for 27 grand because they don't want to risk potentially, them not winning that and getting, to get such a high payout, 5,000 to 1 odds, and to be able to cash out in April and get upwards of 20 grand. Incredible. Mental.
Incredible.
That for me was the moment really as well when people were really beginning to go, shit, this could actually happen.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. There was always a bit of me that didn't think it was going to happen. Even when they got quite close, there was always a bit when it got really close and it was just one game, one result, one or two results that had to go their way. I thought it's probably going to happen, but in the build-up, I was still very much, it's not going to happen. They've had a great run, but they're going to fuck it up. Because the depth of that squad in a lot of their positions wasn't fantastic. If Jamie Vardy got injured, they were fucked.
Well, I was just going to mention Jamie Vardy because that was also the year he broke the Premier League record for consecutive goals, like 13 games in a row he scored. Amazing, what a player. Oh,
brilliant player, Jamie Vardy, obviously. I mean, that year, it was kind of, they were almost dragged there by, 3, maybe 4 players, that being N'Golo Kante, Vardy, and Mahrez, and then of course, defensively, Wes Morgan was an absolute unit that year, a lot partnered alongside Robert Hoof, and obviously, Kasper Schmeichel is a great goalkeeper. So they had a great spine, and then on obviously at the wing they had Mahrez. And but again, outside of that, you got they had Danny Simpson at left back,
right back, wasn't he? Christian Fuchs.
Right back. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, right back. Nathan Dyer as well.
Mark Albrighton must have played in that side as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Mark Albrighton. I like Mark Albrighton, but
he's fine, but he's not a title winner, is he? Let's be honest. Well, he is now, but he doesn't look like it.
But no, to think that he has more Premier League winners' medals than Steven Gerrard, it's bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Danny Simpson couldn't get a game for Newcastle before he made that move to Leicester. Definitely one of the greatest things of the Premier League, that's for sure.
And it was just such a fairy tale. And I think that's what, because sport and football is all about drama, and that was kind of the almost quintessential essence of anything can happen. It's a fairy tale.
Definitely.
I remember, because obviously I'm not a Leicester fan, but I remember I went to, nearer the time, I used to go get my hair cut, and all they would want to talk about was Leicester winning the league. It was just the hot topic. Wicked place, wicked city, and an amazing way to end a Premier League season.
That's the final whistle. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Midtable Up Podcast. If you enjoy our top 10 lists, please make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. Let us know what you would have done differently. If you watch this episode on YouTube, make sure to put your foot through that subscribe button and leave a like on the video, as well as follow us on Spotify and the Podcasts app to keep up to date with the series. Thank you very much. See you next time.